Now this chapter is one of the most important to me. And when first he was explaining it to me, it didn't make a bit of sense to me because I was adopted, right? This is what would have most likely happened to Matt if Matt wasn't killed off and Eric was born, right? Now, that can sound harsh what I just said, but I prefer to be a realist instead of someone who lives in the fantasy world. And it's a chapter on perpetual poverty, right? And why do I say perpetual poverty would have happened to Matt, but they killed Matt off, and so Eric had a chance? And when you listen to this, you need to listen to what he says, right? Or when you're reading this, you need to really, really dive into what he's talking about, because what he is talking about is the perpetual poverty and what's going on in the Black community, or even in the communities on a whole, right? Because only if we're all noticing, right, a select few, let's say 10%, just for easy numbers, are continuously growing in their finances, in their abundance. And abundance is not just of finances, but of health and wealth and happiness and land and everything, right? But then it kind of also seems like the majority of people are degressing opposed to progressing. And I've talked about this numerous in different books, so I don't want to go too much into that. And we also discussed perpetual poverty. And this is why I'm saying it's not just a Black American where perpetual poverty is a pandemic or epidemic, whatever you want to call it. Because when we were in Africa, and we were in, you have to read that book and my little journal from the pilgrimage, and I was discussing about perpetual poverty, and that's when I was explaining it to Joe on what perpetual poverty was, right? And so if you don't know any different, you don't know any different. So perpetual poverty will continue if, one, people don't know any different. How will you know that you're in poverty unless someone tells you? Right? And for someone that's rich, that's great. You're probably like, how would you not know? Well, there's huge ways how you wouldn't know that you're in poverty, right? In some of the places I've been, everybody around is struggling. I mean, when I was in Africa, they were still living in mud huts, right? So if everybody you know lives in a mud hut, then, how do you know you're poor? Someone might have I seen one, he had what do you call solar panels on his, not the big ones, like maybe about, solar panels that you'd find on one of the lights you get outside, right? To walk into your house. But hey, he had solar panels. So in that community, he was probably rich, but for an outside world, everyone was impoverished, right? Perpetual poverty. So let's get into what Everett discusses, because there's a couple things on this that Everett says that is important for this. So let's get into our first little bit.
And this is what I was taught in college. And when I was going to college, y'all probably weren't even born yet. You know what I'm saying? And this is some real stuff. This is what my college professor is a history teacher, Dr. Bishop. He said, I don't even know why y'all here. I said, what are you talking about? he said, and statistically, it's only going to be 1% of all y'all. He was talking about the class, or college educated people. There's only going to be 1% out of all y'all that's going to make it in society. And I was like, damn, this motherfucker. I said, well, what you doing here? You know, I asked him, what are you doing? He said, I got to protect that 1%. Just like that. He said, I got to protect that 1%. You know what I'm saying? Because it gave me like a defeatist attitude. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't win. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't win at nothing. I'm cursed. I'm doomed. I'm not gonna be able to make it.
So as we see, that one statement that the college professor put Everett in a state of perpetual poverty. He was at the university to break out of the vicious cycle, but then with uncharismatic words from his professor, it was almost as if Everett went to a place to break out of the chains, but then instead had the chains of the penitentiary placed back on him, because the professor, opposed to knocking him out and supporting him and pushing him out of perpetual poverty, reinstated the perpetual poverty because he lost hope. Now, for some people like me, I would have considered myself the 1%, and that might have been motivating. But again, that would be the 1%, right? Now, 99% of you guys would probably think of what my cousin did, and that would be deterring. And that would put the chains of poverty back on you. But for some others, like that 1% of the people that are going to hear this, are going to be like, yeah, no, that would have been motivated. I don't see why that discouraged him. But majority of people, when they hear that discouragement, because they don't have enough determination to break through it, right? Now, on the second snippet that we're going to bring, it's why does poverty perpetual, like continuous? And what we discuss here, or what he's discussing, is it's the fault of our own, right? It's the parents. If you remember what I was talking about with the crash dummies, it's the parents, it's the grandparents, it's the society, it's what the societies are doing to people, like to our kids, before we even know what we're doing to our kids, right? We were instilling in our kids this impoverished mindset, even though we don't even know it. Every time that we're complaining we don't have time, what do you think our kids listening to? Oh, well, we don't have time. Well, what do you mean you don't have time? There's plenty of time. There's plenty of time, trust me. Throughout the day, I'm usually wasting majority of my day, and I can calculate how much time I actually waste. So I'm flabbergasted how people who don't accomplish anything say they don't have any time. And I'm like, man, I got all the time in the world throughout the day. I'm lazy as can be throughout the day, and I still accomplish more than you, right? So time, I don't understand that. But what are you teaching your kid? You're teaching your kid of not having abundance, right? You're teaching your kid scarcity, right? So when you don't have enough money and you hear that, oh, we don't have enough money for this, what are you teaching your kids? Are you teaching your kids abundance? Or you're teaching your kids scarcity? Now, I know you can sit there and you can argue as much as you want. Well, I don't have any money and everything else. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. You don't have any time either. I bet you don't read either. So what are you doing? Are you showing your kids that education is in books, right? Because with you no reading, with you not having any time and not having any money, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'm just basing everything off of statistics. Statistically speaking, the people who watch Jerry Springer and Maury are lower income families, right? And what that is instilling the perpetual poverty even more, right? Because again, if you have time to watch that, you have time to read a book, right? You have time to learn about finances, and you have time that you're telling me that you don't, right? So and I'm not giving the kids any excuse, because after 10, yeah, let's say 10, 11, and there's reasons why I say 10 and 11, you can start doing it. You whatever. You have no excuse. You can start changing yourself and get out of breaking yourself of this perpetual poverty. Now, before 4 or 5, hey, you're gonna have a lot on your shoulders to break out of the vicious cycle of perpetual poverty, because everything that's coming into your system is instilling the mindset of a perpetual poverty mindset. So, but after about 10, and you have the, the cognitive ability to think on your own and, and search out, it's on you, right? It's on you 110%. But before then I'm blaming the society around you, because it's the society around you that is creating you to have a perpetual mindset, perpetual poverty, or a poverty perpetual mindset. Now let's get into the second one.
Yeah, but if I sit here and close my mind off and saying, well, hell, I'm not gonna make it anyway. Ain't no what's the use of trying or whatever? Then I'm already fucked up. You know what I'm saying? I'm already fucked up in the head and stuff. And this is where black people or African American people have already made their mistake over the course of generations. They're not giving the next generation a chance. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we did some stuff in the 60s and 70s, but we still living back there in the 60s and 70s. We're still trying to get some more stuff instead of moving on, setting new goals and new achievements and new ideas and everything else. We still living in the past and stuff. Life ain't fair. I already know. You know what I'm saying? I come out the room knowing that. You know what I'm saying? Life ain't fair. But I gotta open up my mind, free my mind from these vices, these little vices that's in the world, these vices that's in the world, these little traps, or whatever, however you want to describe it. You know what I'm saying? I gotta free my mind from that. And it starts with me opening up a book and understanding that Webster ain't totally right about nothing. You know what I'm saying? But I gotta use Webster to get where I need to get. You see what I'm saying? Webster, he's a right motherfucker too, just like I'm a right motherfucker. We talked about this in the last session about being on the earth with 6 billion right motherfuckers that can't be wrong about nothing. I'm one of those right motherfuckers. So therefore I can do something right. You know what I'm saying? But I'm in there with the rest of these right motherfuckers. Who said I have to wear clothes? Who said I have to drive a car? Who said I have to live in a fucking house? Who came up with the idea of charging me for water?
So what he brings at the end elaborates my point a little bit more, is where are you getting your data from? Where are you getting your stats from? Where are you getting your information? Where are you getting everything from? Who told you all this? Right? Because if you're like, well, mommy told me, and well, then you go, mommy, then it eventually runs into somebody that was telling mommy, who probably owned mommy, on what to do. Right? And so be very careful on listening to a perpetual story, because that story that is continuous, right, could be the reason why you're in poverty, right? So sometimes you got to change the story, right? Change the story, change your mind, change whatever you need to do, but don't let it continuous and be perpetual onto the next generation.